Hey, what's up guys? Today we're talking about changing out your treble hooks on all of your baits. Simple, quick, easy process. All you need are some fresh, new treble hooks, split ring pliers, and your old baits, right? So, one of the first baits that I throw in the springtime is the rattle trap. And I throw all kinds of different rattle traps. And what I want to do is I want to change out these hooks so I have nice sharp hooks on there. Plus, in the springtime, I'm using a specific set of baits for a specific reason. So let's talk about changing out these treble hooks, right? First thing that I want to do, right, is I want to try to match the size of the existing hook with the size of the hooks that I'm going to put on there, right? So mainly you're talking number 4s on the belly of half-ounce baits and number 6s on the tail. Some baits are different. I like different rates of fall on some of mine, so I'm going to mix them up. I'll talk about that. But the first thing is, right, you can do this with just fingers, but it's a lot easier if you do it with split ring pliers. So I'm going to start here. This is a Booyah one knocker, right? And basically what you do is you get the hook, right, past that opening of the split ring, right? And then you're going to put this hook part of the split ring pliers up against it. And what it does is it opens up that split ring, right? And then all you're going to do is simply twist it around and voila. See how janked up that hook is? So put the old hook away, get the new hook. I like red, especially in the spring. It just gets a bit better, right? So let's open this back up. So we take this, put that in the middle, get that in there. All right, so got it open. The hook on, and then you just wind that split ring back around, voila, replaced it right there. Now, one of the things that I really like on my rattle traps, and rattle traps here are a really great bait in the early spring. They are a pure reaction bait. You can fish them over weed beds, plus you can cover a ton of water to find active fish, and baits like this just get bit, right? So one of the things here as we're replacing these treble hooks, rattle traps, and especially red colored rattle traps in the early spring are a fantastic bait. So here we go, got it replaced. Number 6 on the front, number 4, and that bait's gonna run head down into those weeds right there, rip it out, and we're good to go, right? So there's one done. Let's get the rest of these done. Now, as we're talking about these, I really like in deeper water the Berkeley War Pig. And the War Pig is made to fall with a subtle action. It was designed by David Fritz, I think. And he's a master at crankbaits. I will tell you, this bait in perch color has caught more walleye for me than anything else. This is a bait that walleye have hammered, right? I'm looking forward to hitting Winona, Maxinkuckee, throwing this bait around, getting after some of those walleye, right? I still like the number 4 on the front. I like the number 6 on the back. Fish with this bait tend to hit the bait in the middle or totally inhale it, so you can get away with different size treble hooks, right? So we get our nice pliers here, hold that ring, and then we just simply open that ring up, slide that hook in, and then use our pliers to twist it up. Nice and easy, quick process. It gets rid of those old nasty treble hooks and replaces them. I love red. Red's a great color, right? In the spring especially, and on all of my hard baits, I always put red treble hooks. It's something I've been doing since I was little. It's something my grandfather did. He believed in it, and a lot of people don't really necessarily care one way or the other, black or red, but I just have a ton of confidence in red. It's something that I've fished my whole life with, and it gives me a lot of confidence throwing hard bait. Now, here's the sleeper bait. This is the Cotton Cordell Spot, and this is a cheap bait. This is a $2 bait. But I will tell you what, in the channels and in shallow situations, you cannot beat a trap fished in 1.5 to 2 foot of water over those weeds. I caught so many fish last year following guys in the channel, throwing an undersized 1/4 ounce trap over top of grass in a place where these guys were swimming jigs or swim baits or not even being able to get a hard bait in there. I take number 6 trebles. I replace these bronze trebles that come on there because they'll bend out on big fish, right? And literally this bait will catch you everything that swims in the lake. And I have a ton of confidence shallow with this Cotton Cordell Spot. For whatever reason, this bait, it runs super shallow, and it has a killer action, and it has a different sound, right? But it is a cheap bait. I always replace my treble hooks on this one. Once you get it open, you can simply just spin it around like that. Bada bing, you lose one treble hook, you get the gold one. So we replace the bronze treble with the red, and there we go, right? Now, I really like spots in shallow water because they just are not as heavy, they're not as buoyant, they don't sink, and they allow you to really get after fish with a bait that they don't see, right? And that bait being different is one thing that can get you a lot of bites, especially on pressured lakes, right? All the lakes in northern Indiana that I fish up here, ton of pressure, right? Every weekend you're seeing 20, 30 boats out. You know, lots of tournaments. The bigger lakes have tournaments Thursdays, Saturdays, all kinds of guys, really good anglers out here getting after them. If you can find a way to be different, you will catch fish. This bait right here is a difference maker for me early in the spring, right? I'm going to do an entire video this spring on rattle traps themselves, but this bait right here is a straight up killer, right? The 1/4 ounce cotton Cordell Super Spot in red craw right there. Replace those trebles immediately, and you have got a bait that will flat out knock your socks off. Now, here we have the cotton Cordell 1/2 ounce Super Spot. This bait I absolutely positively love when fish are schooling, and this bait will cast a mile, but like the smaller version, it will not break the bank, and it will not end up sinking too fast, right? One of the cool things about this bait, and this bait especially right here, and we just lost the opportunity to get that treble on there, right? That split ring popped off. So the one thing that I do really like about this bait is its fall rate is very slow, right? And the fall rate on a bait for schooling fish is important because, one, fish are feeding up. You don't want to be under the school, but this bait flutters. And what I mean by flutters, when it falls, it rocks and puts that big white belly out, and then you rip it up and let it fall again, and it looks like a minnow that has really been injured or is struggling, right? Same thing on deep water breaks when you have cold fronts. I really like to throw this bait out, let it fall down the break, and what it does by falling down that break is it allows fish to get a really good look at this bait. It's still falling at a pretty rapid pace, but not as fast as other things. And then I'll rip it back up and let it fall again. Rip it back up and let it fall again. And it's just a different way of presenting a bait that fish don't see a lot. A lot of guys around here don't rip traps. They either straight reel them or they rip them out of grass, but they're not yo-yoing traps on break lines, right? A lot of guys learn this trick out in California, out in the West, where they're fishing those deep water reservoirs. Growing up on Cumberland and Dale Hollow, I learned how to fish break walls and fish vertical presentations in a horizontal way. And this trap bite has always been one of my favorite bites of the year. You get it early spring, you get it late fall, right? And while it's there, it cannot be beat. There's not a bait that will get bit better if you can find that trap bite, especially early spring when the fish are dumb and the ice is coming off. That trap bite will get you a ton of bites that people don't normally get. So, as we're working through, right, getting all these baits on, getting them ready, what I want to be thinking about is, one, what other baits can I do? And I do most of my prep work on all of my hard baits in the off season right now, because when it's fishing season, I don't want to have to sit down and spend an hour of my fishing time getting all of my baits ready to go, right? All of my hard baits, pretty much every year that I use a lot, go through a bunch of treble hooks in a season, right? I like to keep sharp baits on there because when a fish decides to bite a hard bait, you don't want to lose it, right? Also, fish have more leverage on hard baits, so you want to have good quality hardware on there to take care of that, right? Most of my hard baits, I run red trebles. Only in certain situations I like black over red, but really on treble hooked baits, it's all personal preference on color. But as I said before, I grew up, my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my dad, they all fish red. For whatever reason, I just have confidence in the red colored treble. And it served me well over the years. I fished out of the boat with guys throwing regular stuff. I fished out of boats with guys throwing red. And it always has just seemed one of those things about a red colored bait with treble hooks is they just kind of get bit more. I remember a trip to Minnesota with my father-in-law where I was fishing a DT6 and I took the stock hooks off and I put red trebles on and I was out catching them 10 to 1 throwing the exact same bait in the same color. Fish just respond to those red trebles a lot better in my experience than necessarily other baits, right? Now, here's a trick for you. One of my favorite baits, it's a sleeper bait for many, it's an old school bait, is the Rapala Rattle and Wrap. And where this bait excels is clear water situations. This is a subtle rattle trap. It is a subtle sound, a subtle knock. It's got a lot of beads in there. This bait excels in clear water situations, right? If I'm fishing smallmouth, if I'm fishing very, very clear, very, very, very sight-oriented fish, the subtlety of the rattle and wrap, and it's been replaced by a lot of baits to do a lot of things, but the subtlety of this bait will get a bit. It has that subtle action. It has that subtle shimmy. It's a different look than a lot of fish see. Everybody probably has one of these in their tackle box. Not everybody fishes it, but the guys that do fish it don't talk about it a lot, right? It's kind of taken a backseat since that, that line got less popular with Rapala. They made the Rip and Wrap. They made all these different baits to replace this. But I tell you what, whenever I find these in bait shops, I buy them. Because this is a bait that I really, really, really have a lot of confidence in, and a lot of bait that I fished a ton growing up, right? When you're on 1,000-acre impoundments covering a lot of water, it's a bait that does it for you, and it's a bait that will get bit, and it's a different way to show those fish reaction bites, right? So, guys, thanks for checking this out, how to change trebles out. Keep up with us. Join us on Instagram at Bass Insights, right? Follow all our personal pages on there. Give us a like, subscribe, tell us what videos you want us to make in the future, right? Awesome thing to do during the off season. Change out those trebles. Keep them nice and sharp, guys. Give red hooks a try. It might change the outcome of a day for you. It might make you get a bigger bite. It might make you catch the bass of a lifetime, right? Something different to try. Give it a shot. Thanks. Give us a like and sub, guys. See you next time.